Cis Man podcast. For the girls we were.
For the sisters they became.
And the women we're becoming.
Yay! That was beautiful.
I know, I loved it.
Y'all, welcome back to the Girls Cis Man podcast. As you know, I'm Esther.
I'm Lola.
And this is our wonderful guest today, Leslie. Dr. Leslie. I'm not going to say his last name, ladies, because he's already engaged. Don't be those people.
And we don't want to dox him either. There's just random people on the internet. They're just weird, you know?
This is true. This is actually very, very true. So y'all, this is the follow-up to our conversation about beauty standards. Except today we're going to be talking about male beauty standards, and we're having a male opinion on hypergamy. Okay, so Leslie, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Leslie. Leslie Valbrum, that's right, Dr. Leslie Valbrum. I'm giving my last name so that you guys can find me on LinkedIn.
Okay.
So I hope to connect with you there, and we'll see you guys soon.
Yes. Okay. So, what is hypergamy? If you didn't tune into our last conversation, hypergamy we've discussed, and I think we've agreed upon, that it's the marrying up, right, for social status or financial gain. Mm-hmm. Would you agree with that definition?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Hypergamy is all of those things, but I know that since we're going to be discussing the beauty standards,
Yeah.
it's also, there's a little bit of that comes along with it, right?
Yeah.
So nowadays we want that total package. We want to be able to see whether or not, excuse me, if somebody, from a financial perspective, that socioeconomic status, to see if you can get into a different tax bracket, per se.
Gotcha.
So then, here's my question, and this is what me and Lola were kind of arguing about the last time we were speaking, right? Does hypergamy, because I believe personally that women have always been hypergamous. It's how we've been raised, right? Because for such a long time, women could not work. And if they did work, they certainly didn't earn as much as their male counterparts. So survival was more so a means of marrying up, right? Helping your family by leaving and hopefully him providing labor, or his family being able to, take your dowry, whatever. So now that women are getting paid this, the same amount or more, right? Or more. Hypergamy is still a thing. It's still a concept. And that seems to now infuriate people. Particularly men, it seems like.
Really?
I would think so. And here's why. And this is what I've heard from just a few men that I know, is like, if a woman wants equality, because now we're talking about women who are bringing, the same amount financially, why should she then look for someone who makes more than her?
I've heard that the upset part is you want this beneficial part of this hypergamous relationship, but you're not willing to do the other part, right? So like, if you want somebody who's financially gonna take the lead, right? Because we're not just talking about, oh, he makes more. I'm assuming you want him to make more so he pays more of the bills, right? The idea is, while I might financially take the lead, then you might be taking care of the home. And I think there's some women who are like, whoa, buddy. I'm an independent lady. I go into college. I didn't come to become somebody's maid. But I want you to still do the
heavy lifting.
I want you to be a traditional man while I'm a modern woman. And then I've heard men like, okay, well, that doesn't make sense because
it's a double.
Because it's like, what do I get out of this? Like that. I don't think that I've never heard someone like, this is the devil's work.
No. I think that both are true, right? It's this independent woman model that are saying like that. A lot of men are saying like it doesn't work both ways. Like either you want me to be the breadwinner and then you will take care of like what is societally yours, right? Or it's like I just feel as though if women are also independent, if they're meeting us toe for toe, I don't understand this concept of why she has to seek out someone who is then outperforming her when we can just be on the same, playing field.
What do you think?
That's it. I like how they put it together. I like how you guys are talking about this subject in such a way that it's a broad spectrum. It's not very pigeonholed.
Yeah.
Right? One of the things that I think we have to consider is our history. Where have we come from, from an American standard? Because I think that when we think of hypergamy, we're thinking about where we are in this United States, right? But then we also think about other countries as well. How are they hypergamous? Because women in general have been hypergamous. They've been taught that, like you were saying, they also want to have that equality, like you were saying, in the workplace. But hypergamy for me is when you're working and you're making money, you want somebody to be able to support a financial position that would put you in a position to thrive, right? So how do I thrive while this other person is making money, right? So whether it's staying in the home, right? Because guys, I know there's times where guys are like, hey, I want you to stay home, baby. This is what I want you to do. Like, for example, I have a fiance who, she's educated. Okay, yes. She's all that in the bag of chips. That's old school, but
yeah.
I mean, I'll take it, right? And I've always said, and this is something my mom taught me. Okay, you should always get an educated housewife. And I was like, I said, Mom, what you talking about? She said, you don't know what can happen to you later on in life. How will you be supported if an injury happens or if something like that happens? So the idea also is, how are your children going to learn? What is it that you want them to know? How is it that you want them to live? And, because society is ever changing, right? So are you adaptable to society in your principles and governed by your principles rather than your preferences? And does that person have the same or at least a similar compass to where it is you're trying to go? And so the one thing that I would say about hypergamy is hypergamy without a vision and mission and understanding is limiting, because then there's no shared core values. And even though you're marrying up or it's not marrying down at all, right? It's either a side, like we say, the side hustle. It's either you go to the side or you marry up. That's really what it is. And so if you're doing that, you gotta have core values that are aligned, so that you're able to work together. Otherwise, it's people will get bored. People will say, oh well, I'm done with this person and I don't really need them for anything more.
Yeah.
And then you just move on from there. And that's a lot of times we have high divorce rates because of that.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that goes with your question, Lola. I remember that this question got under my skin because you were talking about how if hypergamy is the foundation, does it set certain principles, right, or structures for that relationship?
Yeah.
So I'll let you go ahead and ask that. Sorry.
No, but that was the question of like, when people say I want a hypergamous relationship, I wonder if, and I'm saying women, I shouldn't say men because I don't know what it's like for them.
Sure.
When you say I want to be in a hypergamous, or that you're willing to be in one, right? That there are structures to it for it to be considered hypergamous, right? So is that not limiting in some sorts, right? Like you can't say I'm going to be in a hypergamous relationship as a man, but like I want you to pay half the rent. Is that possible?
It happens all the time. It happens all the time.
But that's what I'm saying. What's the purpose of that hypergamous relationship? For me, that like me as a person, I want someone who makes more money than I, who's, I guess, considered more socially popular or whatever.
Sure.
And then to come at the end of the day, I'm paying half the rent. Like what do I get out of that?
Well, there's a bunch of things. There's security at times, right? There's social, social clout, right? There's all these different things that come along with it. Now, hypergamy doesn't necessarily mean that a woman isn't working. It just means that whoever you're with is providing more or bringing more to the table than you are. So let's say, for example, you make $250,000, right?
Oh,
just
wow, what a blessing. What a blessing.
Let's talk real figure.
Okay. So that's okay. Yeah. So
let's say $55,000 before taxes. Like I think that's the medium.
Okay. So how about it? Let's do net. Let's do after taxes, right? So let's go 44, 45.
After taxes? Well, damn, Uncle Sam.
I mean, yeah.
Uncle Sam
ain't playing no games.
Okay, so we'll say 48,000 after taxes.
This is 48. I gotta touch the hammer. 50,000.
So, all right. So you're making 48. Okay, because this is what you actually take home.
Yeah.
So if you have taxes and all that other stuff, you're not taking that home.
No.
That's just you. Oh, I earn it. Yeah, but you don't see it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that money comes into the house, 48K. Let's say, for example, homeboy's making, 65?
Okay.
Maybe 70?
Okay.
Which, believe it or not, is not very many people. Because the internet, or social media, has gotten us to the point where we think that we're supposed to have this person who's going to buy the Louis bag, the Fendi, the Balenciaga, What is it?
If
Yves
you
Saint
adore me,
Laurent,
Dior me.
You know, Dior.
Energy, come on.
You see what I'm saying? All these different brands, and then there's certain brands that we just don't even know about because it's just
it's
way out of the.
Yeah.
You know. So the thing is, the majority of people, I'm talking about maybe 70, 80%, maybe more, are right in that middle class. Okay, and that spectrum of middle class is so wide that it's like, you know, you could be making $30K and he's making $40K and you're in a hypergamous relationship.
Of course, yeah.
But you guys are working poor.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And so oftentimes a lot of women, they get their education, okay, especially women of color. They get their education, which should actually happen.
Yeah.
Part of the reason why women get their education like that is because they need that security to say, if this fool acts a fool, okay, I need to know that I can be economically viable. I understand that. I get that. And I think that that's fair. And it's not just about I want to live, I want to be able to produce with the works of my hands sort of thing, or I want to use my mind, I want to contribute to society. There's definitely that as a part of it, but it's also protection. Because there's a lot of guys, and understand, I'm a guy, I speak from a guy's perspective. Yes, there's a lot of guys who have mistreated their women, okay? But there's also a lot of guys who just have not been able to provide adequately enough for the family in this society. So it's not just, you know, oh, well, this guy's acting a fool, but we live in a society now where it's dual income. If you don't have dual income, you better be making a whole lot of money. Okay? You better be making at least a solid 80, 85, 90 and plus. And even then you're going to be really, really tight. But really it's really about how do you contribute to society? How do you contribute to your family? So what I tell women who do want to marry up, okay? Or at least on the side, cuz let's be honest. Okay, no one wants a man who is not going to produce, who's not going to provide, to protect all the P's that come along with it.
Lola has a side.
I think this is because I worked at a law firm where they paid unpaid medical bills. I had come across lots of people who make a certain number, but their debt is so much. And I've seen people who I was like, wow, they're not making that great, and they know how to budget their money.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm not saying I'm trying to be working poor, but if you told me I was going to get someone who's making $60K, but he lived by the 50, 30, 20 thing, and I would never have to worry about a bill being paid late. But you tell me I met with a doctor, but the doctor went to Harvard and that, didn't get all the scholarships, and he got $100K in debt, and he has to live. But he has to live.
The majority of us.
He has to live to impress his colleagues because
no.
To grow, because like some people are like, I got a network, so if my boss is driving a Beamer, I gotta drive a Beamer. Like there are people, even women. I'm just like even on Instagram, you're like, oh, I gotta go fly out because so and so was flying out, and this is normal. And then they start living without their means, and they think the idea of marrying up is what they see on social media. What I'm saying is, you get me somebody who's responsible. I feel like once you're responsible, the money has to come. Responsible people will find it wherever they can get it, and you go and make sure the bills are paid on time. I don't need an exuberant amount of money.
Because I know you're over here just like, go ahead, girl. No, so I always say this to my mentees.
Yeah.
I say the definition of manhood is responsibility, and I'm talking about to the males, specifically males. You have to be responsible. There's no getting around that. It's not to absolve women of their responsibilities.
No.
Okay, but at the end of the day, how do you want to be viewed? Does the
I can't respect you if you're not responsible.
But here's the other thing too. Oh man, you brought up the word respect. So.
And I don't think you should respect me if I'm not responsible. If I'm doing things that are showing you that I'm not a responsible person, where I tell you I'm going to show up somewhere and I don't show up on time, or I'm doing things, why would you I don't think I did.
But even talking about respect in the terms or in the conversation of hypergamy, right? I also wanted to know, and we're always saying, he's the breadwinner, there's respect given there. There's an automatic displacement of respect because of what he brings, because of the support he has.
I just want to clarify, I didn't say he gets respect, because I'm just saying when it comes to decisions, because he holds this power, you have to understand that maybe you will have to take some L's and just take whatever. I'm not saying you gotta be like, yes sir. I'm just saying, if someone says, I want to do this event, this budget, this is the budget. If this person earns this money, holds the power to how it's spent, are you okay with him saying, well, you can't spend this, or we're not doing this? I'm not talking about respect, because respect is how you treat each other.
Well, so there's a few different things that I'm picking up, because I do want to adjust the respect factor.
Yeah.
But you pointed out power, and I kind of squinted a little bit because it was like power in terms of what?
Well, I think about it, the only relationship where I can consider hypergamous that I've ever been in is the one with my parents, right? Because they earned a lot more than I did,
Sure.
and I had to live by their rules, right? And as I started growing and I started making money, I obviously had some leeway, but ultimately there was a point in time, whether I was making money or not, they were supporting me, right? This is their home. There were certain things that, while I'm not saying that they were like, no, you can't do that. It could have been like,
we're absolutely like, no,
it could have been just like, oh, we can't do this right now. It could have been as simple as like, right now that's not in the budget.
Right.
I'm not saying it's like a dictator.
Sure.
It could just be for the fact that it's not something that they can do feasibly or they don't want to do, and you really can't be like, well, this is what we're doing, because that the power's not in your favor, right? Like, that's what
Really? Because I'll tell you this, there's plenty of situations where the guy's the breadwinner.
Yeah.
We say bring home the bacon
Yeah.
for a reason, right? So you bring home the bacon,
so I can cook it.
so she. Now the thing is,
I can cook it.
there's a lot of guys, okay, and older guys who mentor me,
Yeah.
okay, and they tell me this. They say, Leslie, understand where your money's going, and if you can trust blindly your person, you don't have to deal with the money. Give her the money and move on, because you know everything will get taken care of.
I like this idea. Who are these men? Write their names down.
It doesn't.
I like this concept. No, let's not move on from this. I like this. No, go ahead.
But these are men who make a good chunk of change, I suppose.
They do well. They do well for themselves. Now, there's the other end of it too. There are some ladies who are like, look, I don't want to deal with that stress, because money ultimately comes with stress. Okay, regardless of how you shake it, like people who are making what we consider a really good living, they don't just go to work and they're like, oh, this is an easy job, and then they come home like, life is easy. Like, no, it doesn't work that way.
More money, more problems.
When you're in business, like you're in the business world, you're in social work, is it?
Yes.
Okay, you're dealing with people's problems on different levels.
Yeah.
And when you have to now bring that home, it's like it's compounding on that stress. So when we talk about power, it's like power in terms of what exactly, how the money's spent, who gets to say yes and no on all these different things.
Yeah, because I think about it again with like, maybe he makes 60, you make 40. Y'all are middle class. You know you're not gonna die tomorrow of hunger. But like, if you're like, oh, I really want to go to Vegas with my girls for my birthday, and he's like, well, listen, right now we got a medical bill. It's like, listen, we're all one medical bill away from bankruptcy. Just so you know, your health insurance sucks. But no, literally, right? And he goes, well, I make more money. I see how it's going. I don't think this is a responsible thing. I don't think it's like someone saying you can't do this. But at the end of the day, if someone's saying, hey, I'm leading us in this aspect. You've given me the respect and the trust that I'm leading you. You can't then go like, no, well, I'm going to go to Vegas and do this, because that makes no sense, right?
So real quick, so that means that you would be submitting to the process.
That's what I'm saying. If you do...
But see, but I think that's where the issue lies, because a lot of people don't submit to the process.
But then they get mad later on down the line. I feel like that's...
Yes.
But that's what I'm saying. The people girls my age are like, this is what I want. I want a man like this. And then the situation approaches and they're just like, what is this?
Right.
If it's not benefiting them, they're like, why am I here? And I'm like, that is the nature of the beast. It doesn't happen all the time. Maybe you get the man who brings you the bacon, you can cook it all different types of ways, or maybe you got someone who's like, here's the bacon, can you freeze some for later?
Well, so in my approach, okay, this may not be the best approach. If y'all want to crucify me, y'all can. It's no big deal. I always say that I am the CEO of this relationship. Okay, when I'm having a conversation with my person, I say I am the CEO of this relationship. I am the visionary. Okay,
that's how I feel about the words.
Hold on.
I'm gonna let him finish.
Hold on. Right. So I'm the visionary. Not to say that you don't have a vision. If I'm the visionary, How do we incorporate both our visions together so that we can get to where it is we're trying to go? And then, do we have a mission? Mm-hmm. What is our life's mission? What is the purpose of this relationship? Because let's be honest, okay? I'm not the most good-looking guy in the world, okay? No. Let's. So I've said this to you off camera.
And I love that you actually said that because I'll take it someplace else after this. But go ahead.
Right, because we have to value ourselves appropriately based on everything. No. That's okay. That's okay. Because the thing is, it's not to say that I'm comparing body parts. I'm talking about what am I bringing to the table that will help us move into a certain direction. Okay. Hold it there, yeah. So
you're the CEO, yes.
Right. So mission, right? What is our life's purpose going to be? What is our end game? Is it just to have children and we're done, or is it that beyond just having children and having little contributing members of society? What are we going to do beyond that? So I'm looking 60 years down the line, 70 years down the line. Because when, now, for full context, okay, for those who know me who don't know me, I'm divorced, okay? I was married at 26. No, it's okay, trust me.
Okay. Nobody wants to hear the end of those things, but...
Yeah, no. But the thing is, I was married at 26, because I'm designed for marriage. That's just me, And it's not to say that, I'm this beta or whatever the case is. It's not even that. This is how I was raised, and family construct matters to me.
Gotcha.
Which means that I'm going to look down the line to see how can I help my children grow.
Yeah.
Which means that when I have kids, right? So now this is the male who is trying to be responsible, the CEO of the relationship, right? I know. I keep digging you with that one, right? I'm thinking of, okay, how are my children going to benefit from what I'm doing today?
Yeah.
Meaning, am I reading the books that I need to read so that my children can benefit tomorrow, right? Am I taking care of my finances today so that not only my future wife and my children benefit in the future, and then society can also benefit from the work that I'm doing in myself. Now, the reason why I say that is, yes, it is the executive office, as we like to say, but then I always say to my woman, you are the COO. Now, what most people don't realize, the chief operating officer, okay? The chief operating officer does the majority of the work. You realize that. They are the ones that make the day-to-day decisions often. There are certain things, it's operations all day long. So there's going to be little decisions that you need to take care of. There's going to be big decisions that you need to take care of. The only thing that I'm asking for is, if we're going to sit down at the table in the C-suite of our relationship, how can we now move together, right? How can we work together? Because there are plenty of things that I will never think about as a man, that you will always be thinking about as a woman, and the converse is also true, and we have to understand that. Because now, for myself, I'm saying for myself, there is that I may make this amount of decisions as a whole, but don't negate this amount of this, because these are executive, these are final decisions that we're okay, look, babe, come hell or high water, this is what we gotta do in certain situations. Or there's times where it's look, I'm asking your opinion, not because I don't know what to do, but because you're a valued member of this team, and you absolutely need to have your stamp on this.
But that's what maybe I didn't explain it. That little thing of that percent, I think lots of women are not willing to give up on.
But that's what I'm,
and that's maybe what I'm trying to say. Is that you're right? CEO might do a lot more work at
the COO.
COO,
It's not to say that we all don't do work. It's just a different kind.
But I think lots of women, I'm only talking, want to be CEO and would. All this, 80% of the decision making is great, but the 20% that's left, they're not willing to give that up. There are women who I want a hypergamous relationship, right, where this is the case, and this is the dynamic I want. But when it comes to these decisions, when it's that 1% where it's hey, I'm moving to Florida because my job needs it, they want to have that control of okay, you can't do these things without.
But I feel maybe I didn't articulate that well, right? is that I don't think that's feasible in any relationship, not even just a hypergamous relationship. Feel me? Like it can't. So my argument was that a hypergamous relationship, like you can have this much percentage versus this much, right? And that's fine. But in any relationship, there has to be give and take. So it can't be that you walk into it like that's not a hypergamy concept. I don't believe that's a self-centric, unrealistic concept for any relationship. Is that you're gonna walk in and have complete and total independence and say over how everything goes. It's just not going to work.
Then you want to be single.
Exactly. You want to be single and then have someone's bank account attached to your singleness.
See, you know
but then I'm telling you, that is what I've seen it. I've seen it on the gram. That is what they want. That's why we got so many high divorce rate. I'm telling you, this is what the people want. And I'm telling you, it's not going to get you where you want to be.
Y'all need to tell us what y'all want, because I don't think that's what y'all want.
That's not what you
I don't
want.
think that's what you want.
So I'll say like...
That's the thing. My money's my money, his money's our money. And it's like, that is a crazy concept. I understand it, but also they're like, well, that means if I want to fly out somewhere, I'm going to do that. If it's on my dime, great. If it's on his dime, great. It's not going to be, it's not, they don't want, I'm not saying you have to ask for permission, but there's no desire to share decisions.
Or
and
this mission.
Exactly. It's more like, this is what I want in my life. And a husband sounds great because he can help me fulfill my desires and my missions. And that's great. And if it don't work out, I'm leaving because there's someone else who could do it. And I'm telling you, there's a section on YouTube that's equating hypergamy to luxury. Like you said, you could be 50K and then in a relationship with someone who makes 80K. You're in a hypergamous relationship. You're not making a buku money. But there's a group, there's a movement of people who are like, I want luxury. I want Balenciagas. I want all these things. And this person is the gateway to that. But they're not thinking, okay, this is a relationship and this is the structure that needs to happen. It's like, I'm going to be single, but with a title now.
So I will say this, okay?
Have you seen that?
I see it all the time. And I agree. I agree mostly. Any situation, like here's the thing, when you go to work, right, you expect to get paid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's no reason why I show up.
Right. Okay. So no. Okay.
I talk about fulfillment to the new hires, but I show up for the check.
Okay. Okay. See, and that's what it boils down to. You know, when you're home, okay, and I hate to say this, most people don't want to equate it with work, but it is work.
Oh, yes,
you know, and it's like, you know, what are you willing to put out? What effort are you willing to put out so that your relationship actually works? And, you know, if you don't have some level of construct within the relationship, it's gonna fail. You know, and I'll tell, and I'm very transparent. You know, one of the things that I feel that because the other person, you know, that's you make your own decisions in that sense. But for myself, is not having a clear vision, not stating it well enough so that we're working together, right? And ultimately that leads to the demise of things because a good leader. So we're talking about leadership in the relationship, really. Leadership. The definition of leadership is servitude. And how you serve is going to develop your level of influence. So if you want to influence someone, you have to then first serve. And how you're going to serve within your relationship is going to determine your level of influence. So if I say no to my woman, which hardly ever happens. I mean, there's times where I'm like, babe, like, come on, like, you can't do that, right? So if I'm saying no, because of how I'm serving you, and at the same time how I'm influencing you, is going to then give some credence to my no, right? Now that lends to the idea of respect, right? Because respect, we like to say respect is earned and not given, right? But that's not always true because
no, you gotta give people a basic minimum of respect.
But a lot of people don't see it that way, right?
That's just you're rude. Then you're a rude person. You're a rude ass person.
Right. I mean that's fair.
That's rude.
That's fair.
You got a bad attitude.
But here's the thing. So one of the things that I've had a conversation with a lot of guys, okay, is that at a basic level, you know, man to man, there's a level of respect. Now, you can gain respect on how you do certain things, right? And you can lose respect on how you do certain things, right? But there's a general level of respect because how men view love in general, whether you're hypergamous, you know, meaning you're making more money, whatever the case is, right? If love equates to respect and a man does not get respect, then he will never feel loved. For a woman, it is, I feel cared for and that caring, like you nurture me, you provide, and all these different things, the embodiment, the ideal coming all together. That's where most of the love is. Now, respect is going to follow when you care for somebody, the way you care for them. So it's how do we now present that service, that leadership characteristic, in a way that will influence someone else, so that we can work together, right? And then so that we have a shared outcome, because respect oftentimes is tied to the construct of money. When I'm walking around on the street and I'm wearing a "Let Freedom Ring," by the way, freedom ain't free, people. Okay? So thank you to our troops and all that other stuff. When I'm walking down the street and I'm just got a shirt on, walking around, nobody's going to see me as Dr. Valbrum, right? I have patients who come in and they're like, man, you look too young to be my doctor. You know, like I hear that all the time, okay? And I'm like, don't worry about the age, it's what's in my brain.
Yeah.
What can I do for you? You know? And so it's like all of these things, you don't see it until, he's presented as this. Then it's like, a little bit more respect. Then it's like, you do that thing and you're doing well at that thing, a little bit more respect, right? Even before we have the conversation. So a lot of guys nowadays are like, let's go to the coffee house for a date rather than let's go out to full dinner, primarily because it's like, why am I going to invest in someone who does not know me yet for who I really am, and then take it from there? Because I have heard. Now, I know I'm a little convoluted here, but some of my homegirls, okay, I'm talking about, these are high earners. Now, I'm not talking about, like...
No chump change.
No. I'm talking about like 150 and over. And
they're buying themselves out.
No, well, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. You would never know. You would never know that they make that kind of money.
They're not ostentatious about it.
Not at all. But it's like there's an expectation that, look, if homeboy ain't this, that, and the other, if he's not doing this, that, and the other, I can't be with it. And I'm like, you realize that 90%, rather 95% of the world is average at best. Nonetheless, what can we do to understand what it is we actually want? Tell me what you want. So I'm now quoting the line from what's that movie? Ladies, I know y'all know. Put it in the chat. The Notebook. See here.
What do you want?
What do you want?
It's not that simple. What do you want?
Because here's the thing. It's never going to be that simple. But ultimately, you have to make a decision. Where is it that you want to go? What is it that you want to do? Are you willing to die on that sword for that situation? No, seriously. So, I think that there are some people who want to abdicate their power. They do not care. They're just like, look, I just want to be here and live and just do what I need to do. You know, you want to do all this stuff, go for it. You want to be ambitious and all that. You want to do whatever, go for it. I'm just over here taking care of what I need to take care of, and I'm good. Some people are like that. Yeah. And I can't fault them for being like that, but if you're trying to find this egalitarian type of situation, you're not going to find that in that type of a situation. There are certain guys now I'll say this: there's always this conversation about alpha. Everybody was like, "Oh, guys, we have to be the alpha, alpha. She's an alpha female or an alpha guy, or whatever." And I understand, I get it. Because you do want to feel empowered in your relationship, right? That's really what it boils down to. You want to be empowered. Even in that, there has to be an understanding, because most people don't want to deal with somebody who's going to hammer them over the head all the time. Mm-hmm. That gets annoying, and it gets frustrating, it gets tiring.
Fast.
And so that's something that we have to look into. And even hypergamy sometimes, and I say really the financial power structure of a relationship often drives, I make the most money, I have the most say. But that isn't always the case. Like, you have to look at it from a case-by-case basis so that you're able to have some level of, and I don't want to use the word balance, but you have to be able to manage the circumstance because it's going to be fluid.
So one last question. Do we feel like hypergamy in a relationship is inherently good or inherently bad, indifferent, neutral?
Personally, I'm a fan.
Okay.
I think it has its benefits. I think it's good and bad. It just depends on the person.
Yeah, who's in it?
Yeah, I feel like that. It's just like I'm neutral about it. It works for some people. It doesn't work for others, and you just gotta make sure it's for you, not because of the optics.
Absolutely, but you gotta let us know what you guys think.
Let us know down
Your
below.
opinion matters, okay?
It does.
I know.
But no, we really appreciate you coming out and giving your opinions. Y'all, please let us know what you think, whether you agree, disagree. Let us know. We want to hear all your thoughts about the hypergamy. And thank you guys for joining us.
Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.